What are you doing? Oh, we're on the barricade. Soft cells. Can anybody hear me?
Yes.
I'm going to sleep.
Oh God.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Judge Tammy Long Hayward. This is the State Court of Clayton County, Courtroom 304. This is the traffic bench trial calendar and the criminal bench trial calendar. I'm going to call the calendars, and you all should be prepared for trial or a plea or in some way to work this out with the state if you are here. One moment. I'm going to call the calendar. My overhead light. Hold on just a second. All right, ladies and gentlemen, first thing, I hope everyone has their first and last name or designation on the calendar. If you are here for the traffic bench trial, the calendar, then I'm going to call your name. If you have an attorney, your attorney is going to represent you and speak on your behalf. But if you are here on your own, then please let me know that, and then I'll explain to you the procedures that will take place. The first name on the calendar has 5 charges on the traffic bench calendar: Bakare Mapolola Zainab Bakare. Mapolola Zainab Bakare.
Your Honor, the state does have an announcement, but prior to that announcement, for the court situational awareness, a lot of our officers are not on at the moment because they have been called to a sensitive situation, but just for the court's information. But at this point, the state is going to NARPROS Bakari's 4 cases, well, 5 cases.
Oh, look at that. Ms. Bakare, your cases have been NARPROS, and just be careful out there, okay? Because we're seeing a lot of traffic events. You don't want to be in it. Just look both ways and be very safe, okay? All right, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Stickler.
Yes,
all right, the next person on the traffic bench trial calendar for 10 a.m., Aaron Thomas Beimiller. 2 cases.
My guy named Aris.
The state is going to NARPROS both of those cases, Your Honor.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're on the calendar, please.
Because in the rush, in the race.
Someone has a hot mic, Your Honor.
I'm trying to tell them, but I got to get a word in. So whoever has their microphone on, please mute your device while I'm talking. When it's time for you, I will go ahead and let you know, and you can unmute. But please mute your device because we're hearing a lot of background noise, and sometimes we hear things that are inappropriate. And I don't want to hear inappropriate things from my delicate ears. All right, so Mr. Beimiller, same things. Slow down, be safe. This is the holidays, and people tend to be more distracted than usual. So I need you to be safe, okay?
I will.
All right, thank you. You're free to go at this time.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, next on the calendar is Jawan Nye J. Burton. Jawan Nye J. Burton.
Your Honor, the state's on a NARPROS this case.
All right. And Diakite Mohammed Diakite.
The state's on NARPROS this case, Your Honor. And is my officer free to leave?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Teresa Hall. Teresa Quet Hall.
Your Honor, the state is going to NARPROS both of her cases.
All right, Ms. Hall, you are free to go. I don't know what is going on, but hey, I'm okay with it. Just be safe. That's all I'm saying. Ms. Hall, oh, she says she can't hear it. Ms. Hall, let's see if we can send you a chat, and I'll read what I type to Ms. Hall, replying. Your case has been dismissed.
I just was able to hear you, Your Honor. I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem. Your case has been dismissed, Ms. Hall. You're free to go at this time. I'm just asking people in this season of holiday cheer and driving distractions that you please be mindful and be safe, okay?
Okay, thank you so much. Have a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Harris, Eric Gregory Harris. Eric Gregory Harris. Mr. Harris?
The state's going forward with that?
I'm sorry?
The state's going forward with that? We're ready for that?
Okay, Eric Gregory Harris has no tag or expired or invalid, valid tag and improper lane change.
Yeah.
Last call for Mr. Harris. All right, so we have failure to appear or bench warrant, failure to appear is on the traffic calendar.
Yes, failure to appear, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right.
Your Honor, he is also on the 11 o'clock. He may appear at that time instead of the 10 o'clock.
All right, thank you for that, Ms. Wright, because yeah, if he appears on the 11 o'clock, then that means he probably got conflicting messages. We'll hold the bench warrant until the 11 o'clock. Miguel Yaldi Rojas.
He's present in the courtroom, Judge.
All right. Ms. Bermudez, how'd I do?
Great, Judge.
All right. Mr. Yaldi Rojas is before the court for improper lane change. What say the state?
Por camino apropiado de carril, que dice el Estado.
Ms. Bean, you're still muted. You're still muted, Ms. Bean.
I'm sorry?
Sorry, I was still muted. Yes, we're going forward with that.
All right. So, Mr. Yaldi Rojas, are you ready to go forward with your trial for improper lane change?
Yes.
All right. Do you have any witnesses that you wish to bring forward? You're not required to, but is there anyone here that you need to have speak?
Tiene usted testigos, el cual quiere presentar. Usted no tiene que hacerlo, pero usted tiene alguien acá que desea hablar.
Tengo un video que muestra que no fue culpable.
I have a video that shows that I'm not guilty.
Okay. I'm not sure. I know it would involve sharing screen from the courtroom.
Yo no sé si tenemos que compartir las pantallas desde la sala.
I'm going to call the rest of the calendar and we're going to ask our tech person to come down and help us with that. Okay, so if you'll just have a seat, as soon as we get Mr. Cobble or Miss Crystal in here, then we can determine how to do that.
Crystal, vamos a determinar cómo hacer eso. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, Martesta McGrone. Martesta McGrone. Last call for Martesta. I'm sorry.
The same remove for FTA.
Last call for Martesta McGrone. FTA will be at
Thank you. And may my officer be excused, Your Honor?
yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Officer Edwards.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just got excused.
All right. Next is Destiny Marie Meyer. Destiny Marie Meyer.
The same remove for FTA, Your Honor.
Last call for Destiny Marie Meyer. All right. FTA will be granted. Next is Skylar Brianna Moore. Skylar Brianna Moore.
The same remove for FTA, Your Honor.
Here, I'm right here.
Ms. Moore, where are you?
I'm right here.
Oh, there you are. I always call 3 times, Miss Moore, so don't worry. You had 2 more times.
The courthouse
All
is
right.
kind of big. It took me a minute to walk up here.
That's okay. All right, so Ms. Moore, you're before the court for failure to yield the right of way. Is the state ready to proceed with the trial?
I am not sure that my my officer is here, Officer Alexander, or maybe it's just you. I don't know which one is the first name.
I'm sorry?
I'm just calling for Officer, either Officer Alexander or Officer Desure. I'm not sure which is the last name.
It's Alexander Desore, the first
Yeah,
name.
I'm sorry. He is not here. He's out sick.
All right, state ready to no cross?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Moore, you're free to go at this time, but I ask in this season of holiday distraction that you will be careful and safe, okay?
Yes, ma'am. I have a question. I paid my ticket. Is there any refund?
Yes, ma'am. So I'm gonna sign a no pros. It's probably already on the way to my computer. Once I get that signed, you can actually go down to the second floor to the state court clerk's office. So when you come back through the double doors, go to your left.
Yes,
They
ma'am.
will talk to you about how to refund because you paid but you've got a no pros.
Okay, thank you. Have a great one.
You too. Be safe. All right, Kristen Teresa Roberson. Kristen Teresa Roberson.
Move for FTA, Your Honor.
Last call for Kristen Teresa Roberson. Miss Val or Miss Powell, do we have Ben on the way or Miss Crystal on the way to help with Mr. Yaldi Rojas' video?
Yes, ma'am. I called him. He said.
Thank you. All right, FTA for Roberson, Kristen Teresa Roberson. Kenyon Jakeem Rumpf. Kenyon Jakeem Rumpf.
The state move for FTA, Your Honor.
Last call for Kenyon Jakeem Rumpf. All right. FTA will be granted.
Thank you.
Isaac Taylor. Isaac Taylor. Mr. Taylor, coming up in the courtroom.
You know what?
Stay ready on Isaac Taylor.
Okay. It said I'm supposed to be the court for Isaac Taylor. I'm Anthony Davis.
Are you Mr. Taylor?
No, but so when you said his name, it's on the report. It said that I had to.
Oh, you're a witness.
Yes.
Okay. So the witness in this case is present. You can have a seat, sir. Just give me a minute. Is there Mr. Isaac Taylor? Is Mr. Taylor on video? Not in the courtroom. FTA.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, Ms. Hemphill, did you want to give the witness some instructions?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Go ahead, because I guess he was here on the Taylor case. Do you need me to send him down down the hall, or did you want to just tell him something?
Yes, ma'am. Judge, if you could send him to the solicitor's office, I'll message Chief Investigator Henderson.
Okay, so sir, gentleman who was here for the Taylor case, if you go down the hall, straight down the hall, when you leave this courtroom, go to your right, go to the end of the hall, you'll see the solicitor's office, and then the victim witness advocate will assist you there, okay? And they'll give you whatever information you need about the case, okay? All right, thank you, sir.
Your Honor, my apologies. I do have IT here. I just don't have the interpreter anymore.
I'm sorry?
I have IT, Ben. He's here to assist.
Okay, I think Ms. Bermudez just stepped out. She'll be back. But ask him, Mr. Cobble or Ms. Crystal? Ben, Ms. Crystal?
Ben's here.
Okay, so this is what we need. Mr. Yaldi Rojas has a thumb drive that he wants to be able to share screen at the appropriate time. And so I just wanted to be able to do that. What I want to do is maybe put y'all in a breakout room so we don't see any of that. And then when y'all are ready, y'all come back out and let us know you're ready. Because we've called the calendar and we just want to make sure that before I call his case that we have the tech ready.
So, Your Honor, it looks like the only thing that we'll need to do is he has a thumb drive. So we'll just fire the thumb drive up and we'll just need to share our screen when that time.
Okay, so you can see it without sharing screen with me,
Correct.
right? And then when it's time, you can tell him how to share screen.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. If you'll go ahead and make sure that that's fine, then we'll give Ms. Bermudez a minute to get back into the courtroom.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. Thank you.
Excuse me, Miss Bing. What's your first name?
Hi, I'm sorry, I sent you a message, I thought. Stephanie.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
we're ready when you are.
I'm ready.
They are
State
ready.
ready.
Your Honor, I just realized that the officer is not here. He's in a training.
He's in a who?
Officer Ford is in a training. So we'll go ahead and no process.
All right, Mr. Yaeli Rojas, while I was excited to have your trial, it seems the officer is not here, so your case will be no pros. You didn't have to be prepared to present evidence and testimony, but I like that you were. Thank you, sir. You're free to go at this time.
Thank you.
All right, so that concludes the calendar. I'm going to go ahead and form the calendar, and then we'll be back for the 11 o'clock. Bakari, no pros on each of the 5 charges. Miller, no pros on 2 of the charges, on the 2 charges. Burton, no pros. Diakite, no pros. Hall, no pros on both charges. Harris was an FTA. Yaudi Rojas is no pros. McGrone, FTA. Meyer, FTA. Moore, no pros. Roberson, FTA. Rumpf, FTA. And Taylor, FTA. All right.
Excuse me, Judge, on
Yes,
Harris, were you going to go ahead with the FDA or wait until the 11 a.m. to see if he
I'll
showed
wait.
up
I'm
for that
sorry.
one?
You're right. Thank you for reminding me. And I wrote myself a note too, and I'm over in the margins. But I'll wait until 11 to see if that's going to be an 8.
I don't know why he's on both, but
It happens
are on
sometimes.
both.
Yeah, sometimes if they have charges and the charges get split up, like one ticket goes one way, one ticket goes another way, or sometimes they'll have another set of charges and they'll put those on for the 11 o'clock from a different day. So we'll see when he gets here, and if he appears, then we'll just handle whatever he has on the 11 o'clock. Thank you so much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is 10:30. We'll be in recess until 11 a.m.
5513.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is the traffic bench calendar and criminal bench calendar for 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. on December 12th of 2024. We've concluded the 10 a.m. calendar. We are now on the 11 a.m. calendar. If you are here for this calendar, and please, at the time your name is called, unmute so we can make an announcement. So several things. First of all, I'm glad to see that everybody has put their first and last name on the screen, so we'll be able to manage where everyone needs to be. Second thing is, if you're in the courtroom and you hear your name called, please make sure you speak up so that I don't go past you, because I will call your name 3 times before we enter an FTA. And I see Ms. Stiles on the calendar, but I know I made a note from yesterday's calendar for Ms. Stiles. And so I'm not sure why I made that note. Can somebody remind me of what was going on yesterday that I was asking about Ms. Stiles?
The officer in her case showed up yesterday.
Boom, there we go. Okay, yeah, Officer Ho. Thank you, Ms. Wright. All right, so the 11 o'clock calendar, I'm going to begin Tiana D. Alston.
Your Honor, the defendant is in the courtroom and we do have a negotiated plea.
Come on up, Ms. Alston.
She just stepped up with a bathroom, Your Honor.
Okay, when Ms. Alston comes back in, let me know, and then we'll go ahead and handle that case. Barber, Connor Edward Lee Barber, 2 cases.
Your Honor, the state is going to non-pros these 2 cases.
Okay, those cases will be no-pros. Mr. Barber is free to go at this time. Anyone connected with the Barber case who does not have additional business with the court, you're free to go. Megan Lynn Davis. Megan Lynn Davis.
Your Honor, the state will move for FTA on this case.
Last call for Megan Lynn Davis. I'm not seeing anybody respond in the courtroom, and I do not see Ms. Davis on the screen. An FTA will issue.
Thank you.
Wesley Jermaine Ellison. Wesley Jermaine Ellison.
Your Honor, the state's going to non-pros this case.
All right, Mr. Ellison, was that you about to stand up? All right, sir, your case has been non-pros. You're free to go at this time. All I ask of you in this season where people are running around and they're often distracted, please slow down and be safe, okay? You're free to go at this time. Anyone connected to Wesley Jermaine Ellison's case is free to go at this time. Is it frozen? Oh, no, there we go. All right, next is Daryl Wayne Farley. Daryl Wayne Farley.
Your Honor, the defendant is in the courtroom and we do have a negotiated plea.
Mr. Farley, come on up. Improper parking. You ready to take a plea on this case, sir?
Yes, ma'am. I don't mean no disrespect to the judicial system or the county.
Yes, sir.
I was delivering a UPS package, and that's what they had trained us to do. And I've been there 47 years. And I told them, I said, we got to go back and renegotiate how we do this, because they come out every year and they certify me on it. And I didn't mean no harm, and you can rest assured it won't ever happen again. And I'm gonna go back and start trying to get those other guys to retrain how they do that.
Okay, what did they train you to do?
They told us we're not allowed to go in the driveways. So if it's raining, we have to cut the flashes on and just sit the truck there and run the box up to the house and then come right back. That's what they trained us to do. And that's what I did. Like I said, I didn't mean any harm or disrespect. And you can rest assured it won't happen again.
Okay. Will this have point issues? Will this result in points on Mr. Farley's license?
Well, Your Honor, I did explain to the defendant that he is NOLO eligible. So the point should not be on the license.
Is an improper parking, does that get points? Is that considered a moving violation?
Let me confirm. Okay, so it appears that there is none for, non-moving violations, it appears.
Okay, so I'm checking because Mr. Farley, I don't want you to get points on your license if that's not a factor, then you have some options. The options being that you can enter a NOLO, but you only get to use that once every 5 years for the same or a similar offense. And so you might want to save that. That's up to you. Or a guilty plea, which would not result in any points on your license. So it's up to you, but I want you to have that knowledge just in case it affects your I got you. It affects your job. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And yeah, you might want to tell them back at FedEx that, I mean, at UPS that these things have consequences, because like on a narrow street like I live on, it's hard for other cars to negotiate, and you know that may cause accidents for other cars, especially in the rain.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And that's
All right.
That's what I talked to him about and stuff, and told him, hey, we're not allowed to do that. But again, no disrespect, they have trained me to do that for 49 years. 40-something years they had me doing that. And I didn't know. And it's a shame that they had us doing that.
Okay. Well, did you wish to enter guilty plea?
No, ma'am. I'd rather do NOLO.
Okay, you want to do your NOLO? All right. And raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can put your hand down. So you're before the court on improper parking, and it cuts off what the rest of it says. On case 2023 TK 10647 for Daryl Wayne Farley. By entering a plea of NOLO, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And if you are not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things?
Yes, ma'am.
Factual basis and recommendation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. On or about June 20th of 2023, Officer Ella Kirilova did issue the defendant a traffic citation for improper parking or being improperly stopped. As the defendant was in his UPS truck, he stopped in the middle and he did not merge right. He stopped in the middle of a two-way lane that was blocking the intersection, and it almost caused a head-on accident. The incident occurred on Fielder Road and Ramp Road, Clayton County, Georgia. Those are the facts of the case, and the state's offer is a fine of $100.
A Fielder and what?
Fielder Road and Ramp Road.
Ramp or Rand?
Rand.
Okay, I can't read her handwriting.
Okay, because I'm real familiar with that. And the reason I am is because there's a school near there. So, Mr. Farley, you and your compatriots have to be very, very careful in that area. In fact, that is right outside the school zone for elite scholars, middle and high school.
Yes, ma'am.
And I know it because I travel that way every day. And I have to observe that yellow light. So, yeah, what's the recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor, a fine of $100.
All right, Mr. Farley, the fine is $100, $150 with the surcharges. And did you wish to pay that today or have additional time?
Pay it today.
Okay, when you go downstairs to the clerk's office on the second floor, they're going to accept your payment. They'll give you any paperwork you need. If there's paperwork you need to submit to your job, they will give you that sentencing sheet, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody connected to Mr. Farley's case, if you do not have further business with the court, you're free to go at this time. The next case is Hall Hadar, Massey Hall.
Your Honor, the state is going to not process case.
All right, Mr. Hall's case has been no process. Anyone connected with that case, you're free to go at this time. Eric Gregory Harris. Mr. Harris was also on the 10 a.m. calendar. Eric Gregory Harris. All right, so Mr. Harris is here. Mr. Harris, we got Ms. Wright gave me the heads up that you were on both calendars. You have case 2023 TK 05073 and 0 for no tag expired or invalid tag. Case 2023 TK 05075 improper lane change. And on the 10 o'clock calendar, you have
it should be the same charges.
It's the same charges. Yeah. So thank you. Somehow your case got on both calendars, but no problem. We'll deal with it. So Ms. Hagler, did you have any are you ready to go forward with the trial, or you have any recommendation in this case?
This is Ms. Bean's case, Your Honor.
Yeah, I have that.
I'm sorry, Ms. Bean.
Actually, I haven't had a chance to chat with him. Would I be able to have a chance to chat with him first before, just to see if he...
Mr. Harris, if you wish, you're not represented by counsel, so it is up to you. If you wish to speak with the state, then you may do that, and there may be some recommendations made. But if you wish to go forward with the trial, we can do that too.
I'd like to do a pre-trial, and if we can't come to an agreement, then we will move forward with the trial.
Okay, so if you wish to have a conversation with them, Ms. Bing, I'm going to have Mr. Harris wait in the courtroom. If you want to come down and see him, that's fine. Or send the investigator. It's up to you.
Yeah, I'll come down to the courtroom after the calendar call.
I'm sorry, what'd you say, Mr. Harris?
I had one other question after you're done with that.
Sure, what's your question?
I was supposed to be on August the 11th, and I was told by the clerk when I called that I had a failure to appear. I need to see if that is the case, and if it is, I need to address that as well.
Okay, if there's a FTA for Mr. Harris, let's go ahead, because obviously something's going on. He's on 3 calendars for these 2 cases. So let's go ahead and look at his cases on the calendar and make sure there's not anything that after he leaves this courtroom that would keep him from going about his life. So let's make sure we look for FTAs. Let's make sure we look for any other cases or anything, because Mr. Harris is here. And we know that he was already on 2 different calendars. So let's make sure we have that clarified. All right. All right, Mr. Harris, just have a seat for me.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. The next case is Paul Michael Henry, and that's Mr. Wood's case.
Good morning, Judge. How are you?
Hi, Mr. Wood. How are you?
Good. He should be here. Well, I actually should have been here 2 minutes ago. He's sent me a text.
Somebody's coming in the courtroom now. 2 people behind you.
That's probably him. Judge, he's here.
Okay. So is the state ready to go forward for trial on Paul Michael Henry?
Your Honor, this is a non-process case.
All right. Mr. Henry, you made it just in time. Your attorney's here and your case is being no process. Okay, sir? This is all I ask. This is a season where people are distracted, where a lot is going on. I just ask that you be safe and be mindful of what is going on around you, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you all. You're free to go at this time. Thank you, Mr. Wood.
I apologize to the court for being late.
Okay. Yeah, I've been told that there's a lot going on. It's hard to get in today.
Thank you, Judge. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I have Ms. Alston back in courtroom.
Okay. Come on up, Ms. Alston. Ms. Alston, you're before the court for speeding. It's my understanding that you and the state have an agreement for a plea.
Yes, ma'am. Your Honor.
All right, raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yes.
Speak up for me.
Yes.
Okay, you can put your hand down. You're before the court on 2023 TK 12227 for speeding 16 to 20 miles per hour over the limit. What is the agreed upon plea in this case, Ms. Hagler?
Yes, Your Honor. The defendant is NOLO eligible and a fine of $100.
All right. So, Ms. Alston, if you enter a plea of nolo, it will help you avoid points on your license because this is a moving violation. But what I do advise is you can only use your nolo plea once every 5 years for the same or similar offense. So if you had another moving violation, you might not be able to use a nolo. Do you understand? Did you wish to use your nolo? Okay, is it muted in the courtroom or am I just getting old?
I said I did.
Okay, thank you. All right, because speak so low, it makes me think I need to go get my ears checked. All right, so by entering a plea of nolo, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things?
Yes.
All right, factual basis and recommendation, please.
Excuse me, yes, Your Honor. On or about July 21st of 2023, Officer Joshua Braumuller did issue the defendant a traffic citation for speeding. The defendant was going 61 miles per hour in a 45 miles per hour zone. Officer Braumuller did utilize his LiDAR in clocking the defendant's speed as she was traveling on Highway 138 Southeast and Berry Road. Your Honor, Clayton County, Georgia. Those are the facts of the case.
All right. You said $100 fine?
Yes, Your Honor, and the defendant is no more eligible.
Okay, Miss Alston, did you wish to pay that today? The fine, the total would be $151.50, or I could give you additional time to pay.
Can you give me additional time to pay?
All right, so Miss Alston, I'm gonna give you 60 days, but please listen to me carefully. So what I need you to do is you're gonna leave the courtroom, you're gonna go down to the second floor, you're gonna get your sentencing sheet. That'll give you the exact date by which this needs to be paid. If you want to pay partial payments and get it paid by the 60th day, you can do that, or you can pay it all at once, but it just needs to be paid 60 days from now. And
couple days, I just needed a little.
Okay, I'm not fussing at you, but I just need to let you know. So this is considered a suspended sentence. And what will happen is if you don't pay it, then you'll come up back on my calendar and an arrest warrant might issue. So I just advise, a lot of people walk away thinking that they're going to remember to pay it. And I generally advise people put a reminder in your phone. It's going to tickle you about some days before it's actually due, just to make sure it's done. Because what you don't want is to have a failed suspended sentence and then you have an arrest warrant. Trust me, I had 4 calendars yesterday of people who haven't paid from as far back as June. And there was a lot of arrest warrants issued. So I just making that announcement. All right, so when you go downstairs, you're just gonna go and get your sentence sheet. That's where you'll make your payments if you pay in person. But if you do want to pay it all at once, you can ask them about how to pay online or by phone and they'll explain that, okay?
Thank you.
All right, Miss Alston, there's a lot of people out driving around during this holiday season and they're not all paying attention. So I need you to be safe, okay? All right, thank you. All right, so Henry was no cross. Next on the calendar is Jackson, Joy Yvonne Jackson.
Your Honor, stays on a non-process case.
All right, Jackson will be no cross. Anyone connected with Jackson case, Joy Yvonne Jackson, anyone connected with that case, you're free to go at this time. Ricardo Jordan. Mr. Jordan has 3 cases.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, is the state ready on Jordan?
The officer is out sick for the day and we'd like to reset this.
When he gets sick? When did you get the notice?
I'd have to ask our chief. I'm not sure. Maybe it's just a spontaneous sick day.
A what?
I'm assuming that he was spontaneously sick, that it wasn't something that was planned. I don't know when he got the notice. I don't know when we got the notice. I can check with our chief.
Okay.
It says he notified him Tuesday. Oh, I think it was child that was sick.
Tuesday?
Because his child was sick.
I got that. So that was yesterday. All right. Mr. Jordan, that's a legal excuse. I'm gonna reset your cases unless you wanna talk to the state regarding a possible plea in this case. Otherwise, I'll put you on the next available bench trial calendar.
Okay, yes, ma'am. And another thing, Judge, while I'm here, they are sending the notice out. You can hear me clearly?
I hear you.
Okay,
You said they were sending notice
they're
out
sending
and
notices out, and there's no ink in it, so I'm having a hard time guessing like all the information inside on the FTA because of the printing.
okay, they're sending notice out and there's no what in it?
No ink inside of you can't read the notices, like no ink in it. I had got 2 of those, so I had to be sure
Miss
to call.
Wright? Miss Wright?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you pass that on to Miss Brown, because we're getting notices that are not like the outside. I know that they print. So it's one of those printers where it's sealed and it prints like a heat printer. So something's going on.
Yeah, I was just noticed for me and for others that maybe have an issue and it probably cause somebody not have the right information.
I will
All right.
notify her. Yes, ma'am.
All right. And you can check, it's Mr. Ricardo Jordan, 2023 TK 04828. It might have been a situation that happened when his particular the notices from his date were being printed. So you may want to check around that time and see if that's been corrected since then, Ms. Wright, or tell Ms. Brown that.
Okay, I will let her and Ms. Jones know.
One more thing, Judge. I did receive 2, and I did got the first one right, and I'm assuming that the second one had another date. Could you just clarify that there's no other? I'm on the calendar for no other dates upcoming.
You have 2 cases, so you would have received 2 notices.
I can't read the other one. Could you just tell me the date of the?
Ms. Wright, does he? Okay, so his cases are 2023 TK 04831 and 2023 TK 04833. They're both traveling together. Is that correct?
The computer's a little slow. I'm pulling it up.
That's okay.
Yes, ma'am. There's no other dates for either one of those. The last calendar dates were August. And there's no future dates for either one.
Okay.
All right. So, Mr. Jordan, they'll be calendared on the same date. And thank you for letting us know about the printer issue.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right.
I'm sorry, has Mr. Jordan let us know whether he wants to talk to the state?
No, continue.
Okay, great.
All right. I think there's 3 actually. Miss Wright, did you see the third one?
Yes, I looked at the third one. They're all the same date.
Okay, they're all the same day. All right. So, Mr. Jordan, we'll reset those and we'll see you on the next calendar. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Gaitan Lewis. Gaitan Lewis. Last call. Oh, Mr. Lewis.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Stay ready to go forward with this case?
Yes, I believe so. Is Officer Chavez here? My understanding is that he would be available today.
I saw a Trooper Chavez.
Oh.
On the calendar, on the screen.
Okay. Yes, and we're ready to go forward then.
All right. Sir, are you ready to go forward on the case? You're charged with speeding 21 to 25 miles over the limit. Mr. Lewis?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Are you ready to go forward?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let me explain. The state has the burden of proving the case against you beyond a reasonable doubt. You do not have to give any evidence or testimony against yourself. If you wish to give evidence or testimony at some point in the future during this trial, then I will let you know and we will go over your rights with you to make sure you understand that you are not required to testify in any way or to give any evidence. The state has that burden and they need to present enough evidence to convince the court beyond a reasonable doubt of your guilt. You're charged on this case 2023 TK 08817 with speeding 21 to 25 miles over the limit. At this time, the state is represented by Ms. Assistant Solicitor Bing. She's going to present the case, and Ms. Bing, you can call your first witness.
Yes, I'd like to call Trooper Chavez, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Could you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Thank you. You can lower your hand. Could you please state and spell your name for the record?
Yes, ma'am. Seferino, Seferino. Last name Chavez, Chavez.
Okay, and where do you currently work?
With the Georgia State Patrol.
Is there a specific department in that as well, or no? Is that the department, or is there a sub-department?
No, ma'am, that's the department.
The actual department. Okay. Are you post-certified?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
So being post-certified, are you authorized to make arrests and issue citations and make traffic stops, investigate crimes, that kind of thing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let's just go really fast. Sorry. Give me 1 second. You were on duty on May 15th of 2023, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you remember what, well, let me ask you this. Were you uniformed on that day? Okay. And were you in a marked patrol vehicle on that day?
Yes, ma'am.
What were your duties exactly that day?
To patrol the highways, interstates, and streets of of Georgia.
Okay.
1829, ready.
Excuse me, sorry.
While you were patrolling, did you make a stop at 3707? I'm sorry, 1 second. Did you make a stop at on 75 northbound Georgia 54?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and why did you make that stop?
I was in the area to check speeds with my laser device, and I noticed a Dodge Challenger traveling higher than the speed limit with a visual estimation, and then I used my laser device to check the speed on the vehicle, and it confirmed 86 miles an hour, 65 mile per hour zone. That's why I stopped the vehicle.
Okay, and that area, that's in Clayton County, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you did you have any, well, when you stopped the vehicle, did you make contact with Mr. Gaetan?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And you identified him by the driver's license, yeah?
That's correct. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What were your interactions with him?
I really can't recall how the interaction went. I usually put notes in my ticket if something abnormal happened. So I believe this was just a normal interaction with him.
Okay. Do you recall what the posted speed limit was?
65 miles an hour.
And just for the record, what say that your laser or LiDAR?
Laser.
Recorded, what did it record?
86 miles an hour.
Now you're trained to detect speeding drivers, right?
Yes, ma'am.
What sort of training, can you just describe that a bit, that training?
I've got 12 years of law enforcement experience, so I've gone through the laser and radar device training.
But what does that entail exactly?
Usually it entails of doing a visual estimation of the vehicle, and then we use this device to confirm our visual estimation within 5 miles of the vehicle, of the speed that the vehicle is going.
Okay,
I have
so
those exams.
okay. And do you have to score a certain percentage on those exams?
Yes, ma'am.
What's that score?
It's been 12 years now, so I really can't recall what the score was.
Well, not your exact score, but I mean, is there like a range for passing?
I think it has changed, but I don't quote me on it, but I believe it was a 80 or 90% passing score.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And did you mention that whether you had any certifications for speed detection equipment to use speed detection equipment?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay. And what sort of equipment are you certified to use?
Laser and radar.
Okay. Do you recall the serial number on the device that you used?
Yes, ma'am. It's actually listed here on my ticket, which is L as in Lima, F as in Frank, 123663, and that's a Pro Laser 3.
Okay. And did you check the device to make sure that it was accurate before the start of your shift that day?
Yes, ma'am. Every morning or before my shift starts.
Okay. And how do you check that device for accuracy?
We check it for distance. We check it at 50 feet, and then we check it at 100 feet. And if it hits both of those ranges on point, then the laser device is working properly.
Okay. And on that day, you checked for the accuracy because that's your habit, right?
Not a habit. Do that per law.
Pardon me?
Not a habit. We have to do that before every
okay.
shift.
Okay. And at the end of your shift, did you check for accuracy?
Yes, ma'am.
How is it in the same manner that you check for the accuracy at the end of your shift that as you do at the beginning of your shift?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you report that speed, that that laser speed? You reported it?
You mean reported it to what?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Let me withdraw that question. I'm sorry. Let me ask you this. So it's a busy highway, right? 75. Mm-hmm. How do you know that the reading that you got on the laser was of the defendant's car?
So I did first. I did a visual estimation, and what drew my attention to his vehicle, like any other vehicle, he is passing other vehicles. So obviously that vehicle or said the vehicle is going faster than the other vehicles he is passing. So that's when I do a visual estimation of approximately how fast he's going, and then I use my laser device to check the speed.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned that when you do your testing, it has to be within, you are trained to score within like 5 or 10 miles per hour, and then you write visually, and then you check with the radar, right?
Correct.
So that day, when you visually estimated, what did you visually estimate before you checked it with the radar?
I can't say what I estimated it, but it was definitely within those 5 miles an hour.
Okay.
So, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so the citation that you gave, can you just confirm that what kind of citation it was?
It was a speeding citation. I'm not sure if he also received a citation for having all 4 slick tires. Because I usually put warning in my description. I didn't put warning for slick tires, but I'm not sure if he got a ticket for those slick tires as well.
Okay. Okay, I think that concludes. Oh, I'm sorry. The person that you interacted with in that car, do you see him in the courtroom today?
Let me zoom in real quick. Yes, ma'am. He is the guy in the courtroom with his hands crossed, and I believe that's a grayish greenish jacket.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That concludes my questions.
All right. Mr. Lewis, you have the opportunity at this time to ask any questions that you have of Trooper Chavez. Please make sure that they are questions like you would ask in a conversation, that you don't make any statements because you're not required to testify at this time. Did you have any questions regarding Officer Trooper Chavez's testimony? I'm sorry?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, can you step up to the microphone a little bit and speak up loud, because what's happening is Trooper Chavez, if I'm gonna mute you, but unmute yourself to answer, because there's a lot of background noise coming from your vehicle. All right, thank you. So, Mr. Lewis, did you have questions for Trooper Chavez?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, go ahead.
I'd like to know what lane I was driving when you catch me.
All right, what lane was that, Trooper Chavez?
I cannot recall which lane he was in. I just know that I was on the side of the interstate, and there were several vehicles coming, and he was obviously in a lane.
Okay. Next question, Mr. Louis.
I mean, since he said he cannot recall, I was gonna ask how he was so sure that it was me that he catch.
Yes, sir. So how I was so sure that it was you that was speeding is, like I said, first I did a visual estimation of your vehicle, and as I noticed that you were passing other vehicles, led me to believe that you were speeding. I used my laser device to check your speed, and that's how I got probable cause to pull you over, sir.
I wasn't passing, but I don't have other questions for now.
All right. All right. Anything else from the state?
No, Your Honor.
All right. At this time, does the state have additional witnesses or testimony to present, witnesses or evidence to present?
No, Your Honor.
All right. This argument. Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Luis, did you wish to testify in this case or present any evidence or testimony on your behalf?
I want to testify, yeah.
You wish to, yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you understand that you're not required to testify.
Yes, but I believe
you don't have to tell me why. All right, and you understand that you're giving up your right to remain silent under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution.
Sure.
All right, raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you can put your hand down. Go ahead and tell me what you need me to know.
Yes, Your Honor. I was driving on the far left lane, and the officer was all the way on the right lane on the shoulder. And I was in the middle of 3 black cars, and in the middle lane, that was a black Jeep Wrangler that was going fast right next to me. And then I let the Jeep pass by because the pickup truck in front of me, for some reason, they started to break off, and then the lane was going there slow. And then I passed behind the Jeep Wrangler. That's when he gave me the flash. He flashed me and stopped me. Then I just pulled over and talked to him. So the Jeep Wrangler is the one that passed in the middle lane. Then after the Jeep Wrangler, that's when I changed lane from the far left lane. So I'm positive that he didn't catch me because I was in between all of these cars. It was not me that he catch. I wasn't speeding that day.
All right. Any other testimony?
For now, no.
Okay. Ms. Bing, any
Yes.
questions for Mr. Luis?
Yes. I just want to make sure I have this right. You're in the far left lane. You're in the fast lane, right? The officer is on the far right lane. Is that what you're saying? So you're on the opposite sides of the street, of the highway. You said that there were 3 other cars in between you,
I mean,
right?
to tell you the truth, the highway was not really that fluid. It was kind of getting busy. That's the intersection, kind of somehow where you're gonna get to 285. This part is always getting busy with traffic. So
Right.
at some point, traffic started to slow down, and that pickup truck in front of me started to slow down. The Jeep Wrangler passed, and then I passed right behind it.
Okay. You mentioned in your testimony that the Jeep and you, that you said the Jeep was with you for a minute, right? And then it passed. Is that right?
Yeah, because
Okay.
I'm driving, especially I'm a truck driver. I'm monitoring my traffic every time I'm driving. I saw the Jeep. I saw the Jeep coming, and I let it go, and then I passed right behind it. That's when the officer stopped me. But I'm positive if he saw a car driving, that wasn't me. It was the Jeep Wrangler. We both.
Okay.
It was a black Jeep Wrangler, like my Challenger, but I wasn't speeding.
Okay. So so again, at some point you and the Jeep were together, right? But the Jeep went on.
Yes.
That's your testimony. Okay. So
But
how do you,
traffic was slowing down? So the Jeep passed, but then
may I just finish? Mm-hmm. So I understand that you that when you all were pacing together, that's not when the officer pulled you over, but you can see how the officer. Let me ask you this: do you know when the officer used his radar? Can you be certain when the officer used his radar?
I don't. I cannot say that I am.
Okay, and can you say when the officer used his visual estimation training?
No.
Okay. All right, then no further questions.
All right. All right, anything else at this time, Mr. Lewis?
No, ma'am.
All right. All right, argument from the state.
Yes. OCGA 40-6-181 just requires that, the speed in excess is violated when the speed is in excess of the maximum limits. The officer here has testified that he's been trained both visually and with his equipment to be able to relatively accurately perceive when how fast someone is going. Even if he were within 5 or 10 miles per hour in the margin of error, if the posted limit is 65, he was still going well past the limits, even if the officer were 10 miles an hour off. The defendant here has testified that at some point, the Jeep that he believes is guilty was pacing him, and he cannot pinpoint when the officer used his visual estimation or his radar to confirm the speed of the car. So the conclusion that I've drawn is, or that is reasonable to draw here, is that whether or not that only the officer can testify as to which car he was able to pinpoint. He had his eyes on Mr. Gaetan's car, and was whether it was the Jeep or not, if they were both going fast, they were both going well past the speed limit. So it doesn't make sense to me that a person could conclude that he was not going past the speed limit, even if it were within 5 or 10 miles per hour in the margin of error. So I would say that, Mr. Gaetan it's only reasonable to conclude that he was speeding past the 65-mile-per-hour posted limit. So that concludes my closing.
All right, Mr. Luis, did you have any argument that you wish to make?
Yes, the officer wouldn't let me see when he catch me when I asked. I think I have the right to see, to ask for that, but he wouldn't let me.
Okay. All right, not sure about the law on that, haven't looked it up. But the officer in this case testified that he measured your speed by looking at the car. He identified your vehicle. You've indicated from your testimony that there were 3 cars riding essentially together, that you and the Jeep were pacing each other and y'all were going about the same speed. But when you said that, you said that the Jeep was going fast, and you confirmed that y'all were together. Then you said that the Jeep passed one of the other vehicles, and then that you also passed the cars because you felt like they were going slower. And then at that time, that's when you said that the black Jeep was going fast right next to me. And then you passed behind the wagon when it got into a lane that was slower. And so with that being said, sir, I think there's sufficient evidence with the testimony about the laser, 86 miles per hour in a 65, even if the officer was off by 5 miles per hour or 10 miles per hour, then with the estimation, he still would have clocked you at a speed higher, that it was in excess of 65 miles per hour on Interstate 75. So with that being said, I'm going to find that you're guilty of the offense of speeding. Does the state have a recommendation with respect to the sentence in this case?
Your Honor, excuse me. I never mentioned that I was going at the same speed with than the Jeep was. I never mentioned anything like that.
You said, and I quote, a black Jeep was fast right next to me. I wrote it down when you said it. And then
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Then you said they got into a slower lane and you passed behind the wagon, the Jeep.
No, I said the Jeep was going in the middle lane. He went past. Then I changed lane, not because I wanted to go fast, because the car the lane in front of me started to slow down. Then I just changed lane, but not because I was going fast. I never said that I was going fast.
Mr. Luis, first of all, I wrote it down as you said it. Fast right next to me. I wrote it down as you said it, because when you said fast, I started writing. Number 1. Number 2, you were in the left lane on I-75. Sir, nobody does 65 on the left lane of I-75. Unfortunately, you just happen to get caught, but there's not a soul who can survive in the left lane on 75 doing 65. I travel that road and I see it all the time. Hate to say it, but a Dodge Challenger is gonna get attention. And if they see a Dodge Challenger, they're gonna put their laser on it because it's a Challenger. So you have all of those factors, which I don't even have to consider when I consider the fact that the officer has talked about his experience and training, the fact that he identified your vehicle.
Challengers for some reason, but it's they target as soon as an officer see a Challenger, they just target you.
Okay, well, sir, you have 30 days from the date of the court's verdict to appeal. If you wish to appeal, you can go ahead and do that and appeal the verdict to an appellate court. They may make a different decision. At this time, the court will find you guilty of the offense. I'm going to fine you at $150 with the surcharges. That's going to be like $217, I believe. Did you wish to pay that today or have additional time?
I think that I already paid that ticket.
I'm sorry?
I already paid for the ticket.
Okay, so when you leave the courtroom, you're going to go down to the second floor. When you go down to the second floor, come back through the double doors, go to your left. When you get to the traffic court window, they're going to pull it up by your last name. You go ahead and you'll make that payment and they'll give you your receipt from there.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, sir. Be safe. Slow down. All right. Next case on the calendar is,
Excuse me, Your Honor. May I be excused?
yes, you may. Thank you, Trooper Chavez. Enjoy your holidays. Be safe, sir.
You as well. Thank you.
All right. Robert Andre McDonough. Robert Andre McDonough. Robert Andre McDonough.
Actually, the state's gonna no plus that anyway, but.
All right, that will be no.
I'm here.
Mr. McDonough or anyone connected to that case, you're free to go at this time. Austin Lee Murray. Austin Lee Murray. Austin Lee Murray. Last call. Failure to appear. Trung T. Quinn.
Hello? Hello?
Yes.
Austin Limmer? Yeah, that's me.
Okay, sir, if you have an iPhone, if everybody who has an iPhone just put iPhone on the screen, how am I gonna know it's you?
Yeah. Oh, I have an iPhone.
Oh, I get that, but what I'm saying
3.
is
iPhone 3.
it's not gonna tell me who you are. It just tells me iPhone.
It should say iPhone with a 3 next to it.
No, but Mr. Murray, what I'm trying to tell you is everybody has an iPhone except me. I'm strictly Android.
Okay.
But if everybody with an iPhone came on as iPhone, how would I know who's here and who's not here?
Okay.
Work with me, Mr. Murray. What I'm trying to tell you is when you're on the screen, you got to change your name to your first and last name. Else I don't know you're here.
Hold on, man. I'm in court. Hold on. Let me take this. Hello? Okay, so yes, you want me to change my name?
I did. Never mind.
Oh, okay. Okay, so yeah, my bad. I was
right.
working.
Mr. Murray, you're before the court for failure to yield. Is the state ready to go forward on Murray?
I believe that the officer is not here. He's not on and he hasn't responded. So,
No cross.
yeah, we'll no cross it.
All right, Mr. Murray, your case is being no cross. You're free to go at this time. Mr. Murray, please be safe.
You said no price. Wait.
Dismissal.
Wait, what that mean? That means it's a new court date?
Dismissed, Mr. Murray.
Oh, dismissed. Okay, thank you, ma'am.
All right.
Have a good day.
Thank you. All right. Trunke Nguyen. Mr. Nguyen.
He's in the courtroom, but we're no crossing. He needs an interpreter, but we're no crossing his anyway.
Mr. Nguyen, is it Vietnamese?
Yes.
Okay, hold on. One second.
Trường hợp bị bác bỏ. Trường hợp bị bác bỏ. Trường hợp bị bác bỏ.
Mr. Nguyen, did you hear that? Trung Ho bị bác bỏ. Case dismissed.
Yeah. Was it the Google?
Yes, the Google.
Yeah, Google, that's bad.
Trường hợp đóng cửa. Trường hợp đóng cửa.
I don't understand it. This is
Okay, so your case is done, over, closed.
My call you could close?
Yes.
My nothing?
Nothing. You're free to go.
Okay, thank you, Joe.
Be safe.
Thank you. I carefully. Yeah, okay. Thank you. See you good day.
All right, thank you. All right. I'm trying, but he said Google is not good because he was like, Google, not good. All right, so we're gonna find some other translation. For that, I didn't want to go ahead and call the phone service. which I used to use quite a bit in my previous job. All right, Nicholas Anthony Reimer.
I'm sorry, did we skip Murray? No, I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong page. I'm so sorry. Reimer.
No, Mr. Murray got no pros, Mr. Quinn got no pros, and Reiner is next. Nicholas Reimer. Last call for Nicholas Anthony Reimer. I'm only looking at the screen. I'm looking at the courtroom screen bigger. Anybody see a Reimer? I do see that there's somebody on with just their Samsung Team Android, but hey, I need you to change that to your first and last name because I don't know who you are. All right, the court is going to issue an FTA for Reimer. And last call, last case on the calendar is Stiles, Soraya Kian Stiles.
Your Honor.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
I am Trooper Robertson. I was the trooper on the Reimer case. May I be excused?
Yes, yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a good day.
You too. I'll be safe, Trooper.
We're no prosing the Stiles case.
All right, the Stiles case is being no pros. All right, so I'm going to go over the calendar. Alston is was a no-low plea. Barber, both cases were no pros. Davis is an FTA, no pros. Ellison, Farley was a no-low plea, no pros. Hall, and we did not determine what's going on with Mr. Harris. Ms. Bing, did you and Mr. Harris come to an agreement?
I actually didn't get a chance to go down there yet because we had the trial just now. So could you give a couple of minutes to go down there?
Yeah, go talk to Mr. Harris. Henry is no pros. Jackson is no pros. Jordan was reset ×3. Lewis was a guilty trial. McDonough, no pros. Murray, no pros. Wynn, no pros. Reimer, FTA, and Stiles, no pros. All right, we'll wait for the announcement on Harris, and then court will be in recess until the 1 p.m. count.
I'm sorry, I'm not understanding. No cross. Am I free to go? I'm not understanding.
Okay, yeah, Ms. Stiles, a no pros means that your case is going to be dismissed by the state. Please be safe and mindful, especially during these holiday times where people are driving and their minds are somewhere else, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Must I pay the ticket? Do I still have to pay?
No, ma'am, it's done.
Okay, thank you. Happy holidays.
You too. Be safe, okay?
You too. Thank you.
Your Honor.
All right. So while we're waiting on Ms. Harris, on the Harris case, I'm going to be signing. If you deputy need me.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, what you need?
I have Connor Barber in here for the 11 o'clock calendar.
Barber?
Yes.
All right, come up. Mr. Barber's case has been no pros. He's free to go.
Hey, one thing I wanted to let you know, Your Honor, is that I had the same issue with the printer and the ink. I'm sorry, I'm right here.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Barber. So you also had that issue?
I had that same issue. I actually was only able to read the front because it was my address was printed on it. And, you know, like you said, that heat printer or whatever, the inside was completely unreadable. I came here, I could have been at home on Zoom. I didn't even realize it. I came here this morning, got dressed and everything, and I had no clue what was going on. So
I'm so sorry, Mr. Barber. That's a new one for us, but I'm glad that you brought that to our attention and the other gentlemen, because that's new.
Several people from today could have just not been able to read it and then got a warrant for their arrest. But anyway, that's not, that's neither here nor there, but I just want to let you know about that, Your Honor.
Okay, cool. The first thing is, let's put a note for this date that the printer, I'm putting a note in my calendar, printer paper was unreadable. And anybody from this date who got an FTA, if they come in and we have this discussion because of what I'm learning, then we'll go ahead and make sure that we reset as opposed to an FTA, okay?
Thanks so much.
All right, and thank you so much for that. And I'm sorry you had to come in, but your cases have been dismissed. Be safe.
Thank you. God bless.
All right. Bye, Mr. Barber. So ladies and gentlemen, if we could get a note for the cases on the 12/12 calendar that we were having issues with the printer paper, that the notices were unreadable, so that anybody with an FTA for these calendars can have some grace. All right, and we'll be back for Harris.
Your Honor.
Yes, Ms. Bing?
Okay, so we've decided to go ahead and no process those two cases. I just want to double check. He wants some paperwork, which I understand. He wants some paperwork to say that his FTAs are cleared, but I believe that lunch has started for everyone, so he can come back at I was told that it was wherever he could get it, it was closed. Is
the clerk's office closed, is what you're telling me?
That's what someone just told me, that it was closed, but I'm sure he can go down and check. But if it's not, if it is closed, can he just come back on another day and grab? No?
Yeah, but he should be able to, Miss Wright, are they closed or is there somebody manning the desk? Because it should be a staggered thing.
Yeah, there's always someone at the front desk as long as we're open. I mean, 8 to 5.
Okay.
We are closing for staff development tomorrow at
Yeah, that's
noon.
tomorrow. Okay, so Miss Wright, is it better for him to go to the second floor or the first floor?
Either one, probably the second floor would be better since it's a traffic bench trial related.
So
I'll
Mr.
put his MPSs in right now.
Yeah, Mr. Harris, you're going to have no process. Those no process will attest for your FTA. And also my understanding of and Ms. Wright can correct me because I'm not in the clerk's office, so they know way more than I do about this. But it's my understanding that because the law changed, the FTA, they'll give you a first FTA, and it gives you the opportunity to reschedule the cases before it goes into the Department of Driver Services. Am I correct about that, Ms. Wright?
That is correct. If the first time that someone doesn't show up for their bench trial, it's reset. The second time is when it goes to the department.
So I still want to get it because I have, for those two cases, I have like 6 to 8 notifications. And as the other people that you heard from today, they're not readable. So
okay.
I can't see what's here. So I don't like bars, Your Honor.
When you go to the clerk's office, you can explain this situation and even show them the paperwork, because I know we've talked about it, but if you have paper in hand, that'd be helpful. But also just make sure, verify with them that you don't need anything to clear the FTAs. I'm clear on what the law says, but I understand your concern that you don't, you're afraid that an FTA has already gone into the Department of Driver Services. They can figure that out. I can't, because I don't have access to that system.
Yes, ma'am.
So when you go to the second floor, come in the double doors, take a left and go to the traffic window, and they will be able to understand what you're asking for and then clarify what you need.
Okay, very good. And what's the solicitor's name again so that I can reference her?
Miss Bing.
I'm sorry, Miss, Your Honor, the victim is on.
Yes.
I think I have to proceed with the trial.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I was just informed that the victim was on. I'm so sorry.
Did she just come on?
I don't know when she just came on. I don't know if she just came on, but I became aware that she was on, and the victim's requesting restitution. And the officer is on.
When did all this happen?
I think it's my mistake.
Okay. All right, Miss Wright, let's reset. Mr. Harris, are you ready to go forward with the trial?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
Okay. So the state's ready.
Yeah, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Okay.
May I ask a question? before we proceed? Your Honor?
Yes, Mr. Harris.
My citation was for improper lane change.
Yes.
I'm not really certain what the victim she calls herself has anything to do with that.
Was there an accident, Ms. Bing?
Yes, there was.
Mr. Harris, she's saying that there was.
She hit my car. She did, Your Honor.
Okay.
But I don't really care about her hitting my car. My insurance paid her because they didn't find me at fault.
She seems to think you hit her car and she's asking for payment from you.
I know she's asking for payment from me, but I didn't hit her. She hit me.
Well, that's what the purpose of the trial is.
Understood. Okay.
All right, Ms. Bing?
Yes, I'd like to call Officer Morel.
I'm here.
Okay, could you just put your video on for us, please?
Just hang on one second. So. All right, can you see me?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. I'm sorry, Your Honor, I may have done this out of order, but I'd like to just say I'm going to null pros the expired registration, but I'd like to proceed on the improper lane change. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Investigator Morel?
Yes.
Okay, could you raise your hand, your right hand, please?
Yep.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, thank you. You can put your hand down. Could you please state and spell your name for the record?
First name is Miles, Miles. Last name is Murrell, Murrell.
Okay, and where do you currently work?
I currently work at the Clayton County Sheriff's Office.
All right. Are you post-certified?
Yes, ma'am.
And what exactly do you do for the Sheriff's Department?
I currently work narcotics, but in reference to this case, I was working the road as patrol.
Okay. You mentioned you were post-certified. Are you authorized to make arrests and investigate crimes and issue citations?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Were you on duty on March 22nd of 2023?
Yes, ma'am. I was with the Clayton County Police Department at that time.
Okay. Were you uniformed?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you in a marked patrol vehicle?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you dispatched or were you dispatched to the location of Highway 138?
Yes, I was dispatched.
Okay, and what was the nature of the incident that you were called to?
It was a two-car collision. It looked like it was on the westbound side of Highway 138, and both cars were present.
Okay. And can you just describe a little bit of your investigation, whether you spoke to the drivers, and what your investigation yielded?
It's been a while. I'm gonna try to piece together what I can remember, but I know that.
Well, hold on. Do you need to refresh your memory?
Yes, ma'am.
You have a copy of the report that was written up on that?
I think I should have it in my files. Hang on. Okay, yeah, I found it. Yep.
Okay, take a moment to just review it, refresh your memory, and then without reading anything from it, you can testify again.
Okay.
So take a second.
Okay.
Okay, so before you testify, I just want to back up for a quick second. The section of 138 that you stopped the defendant at, or that you were dispatched to, that was in Clayton County, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so go ahead. If you could just tell us a little bit about your investigation once you arrived at the scene.
When I arrived at the scene, both vehicles were on location. I spoke to both of the drivers. The gentleman that's in the courtroom now, his vehicle was in the center lane, merging onto the westbound side. And he was trying to, well, from the investigation, he was trying to get into that middle lane. The other driver was leaving, I think it was 1755, 138, and she was making a right westbound onto 138, and they both collided into the center turning lane. Or that far left lane.
Okay. So the defendant was in the center lane trying to merge into the middle lane, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And the victim in this case was she was coming off of a ramp, or where
No,
was
she was coming out of a business and turning right onto the same highway as the defendant.
Okay, and she was in the left lane. So if he was in the middle lane and she was in the left lane.
So yeah, it's a 2-lane. Each side has 2 lanes, and then there's a center lane, basically for turning into different businesses and such.
Okay, so before he was able to get into the middle lane, he was still in the center lane and she hit him?
So basically what I was told was the victim turned right and maintained her lane, and then the defendant basically collided with her vehicle after she already was in her lane.
Okay.
Due to the damage, her damage was a little further back than his. So that told me that he had to turn in basically into her.
Okay. I noticed that you, in your report, well, let me ask you this. In your report, or do you recall reporting that who was at fault, who you determined was at fault? And if you can't remember, let me know.
I do not recall, but I believe the defendant is driver 1, so that's usually our indicator that he is at fault. Hang on one second, I'm going to review my notes.
Yeah, please do that.
Oh, so driver 1 and 2 were both issued citations. So it looks like they were both found at fault.
Okay. And do you still agree with that conclusion today?
Well, I had to go back and forth with this with both people. Because he was saying that he was already in his lane. She was saying that she was already in her lane, and they just collided in the middle. And then it was inconclusive evidence.
But based on the damage, you testified today that you feel that one person was more at fault than the other?
Yes, but then it still they would still be both at fault. I couldn't prove basically who was more at fault.
Okay. Your Honor, could you give me one quick second to confer with co-counsel? Okay, Officer Morrell, did you determine that the victim was already or how did you determine that the victim was already in her lane and had maintained that lane prior to the collision?
Her had skid marks. There was a skid marks on both, basically from both vehicles, where it showed they were both in their lanes. So I was determined at least where they started and where they ended.
Okay. And so why did you issue citations to both then?
They both kind of collided in the middle. It's inconclusive.
Okay, I think that concludes my. Oh, I'm so sorry. The person that you at least one of the people that you interacted with, in that incident, is he on the Zoom today? Do you see him?
Yes, he's in the white shirt with the lanyard, the little badge at the end of it, and glasses.
Okay. I think that concludes my questions. Thank you.
All right. I have a couple questions because the way this works for me best is if I can visualize what's going on. So you said this was Highway 138, Investigator Morrell?
Yes, Your Honor.
What part of Highway 138?
It was in front of the business. The numerics are going to be 1755 Highway 138.
That's not going to help me. Tell me what we see.
It's right next to Lake Ridge Parkway. That's the closest intersection. There's a couple gas stations.
So it's the highway. It's the spur.
May I help you, Your Honor?
Oh, hold on, Mr. Harris.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it the spur or is it the Highway 138 part that goes into Stockbridge?
It's the Highway 138 that goes towards South Fulton.
Ah, that's what I generally call the spur. All right, so Lake Ridge Parkway, I'm getting you. There's a couple of hot gas stations. Is there a little shopping center, a very small shopping center, as if you're going westbound?
Yes.
All right, so now I'm oriented as to time and place. So Mr. Harris, driver number one, was in the central lane. Is that correct?
Yes.
And the other driver number two, was coming out of a business and making a right turn to go in the same direction as Mr. Harris.
Yes.
All right. Do you know what business she was coming out of?
I don't know the name of the business. I just know the numerics based off the report.
Okay. And was she near an intersection or was she coming out in the middle of the street?
She was staying, basically hugging that right side, going westbound. It's a 2-lane highway.
Right.
They were both kind of, he was on the left and she was on the right, and then they met in the middle from the skid marks.
Okay. So she's coming out, she's hugging that right lane. Where was what lane was the actual collision in? It
was basically in between the left and the right. It's directly where the dotted lines were. I just took a glance on the diagram.
So the left lane, the left westbound lane between the center median lane and the right lane is where they met.
It would really be between the left and the right lane. That first lane, the second lane, where the dotted lines meet, where the actual collision was.
All right. Mr. Harris, did you have any additional questions for Investigator Morrell? Please don't make any statements to tell me what you were doing or where you were, but please ask any questions that you might have about his testimony.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead, sir.
Investigator, where were the cars at the time that you were dispatched
to the scene?
The cars, I don't recall, but if I don't quote me on this, I believe you guys were on the right-hand side of the highway.
Okay. Is it possible that they were someplace else?
Yes, that is possible.
Objection, speculation.
Hold on, repeat that question, Mr. Harris, because I didn't hear it.
I'm asking, is it possible that they were someplace else at the time that he arrived to the scene?
All right.
May I object on speculation?
Yeah, but overruled because he can say whether he knows or not. Investigator.
Yes, it is possible.
And how are you able to determine that the skid marks you saw were from the two cars?
Because I interviewed the second driver, and they said that that's where it occurred.
So based on the second driver hearsay, you're saying that those are the skid marks that were from those two people?
From the debris that was coming from both of the vehicles leading to where the vehicles ended, I could confirm that was true.
Okay. And is it possible that the car that was traveling, which would be my car, that it entered into that middle lane at a different point other than what's in your diagram or what you testified here today?
Based off the evidence, I don't believe that it is possible.
And what evidence is that you're saying that you're basing that on?
The skid marks and the debris that were left on the ground.
What debris was left on the ground? Do you have any pictures of it?
I do not have my actual report. I'm not able to access PD reports currently.
So you don't have any evidence or pictures of any debris?
No.
What debris specifically was left on the ground?
There were chips of bumpers and different kind of vehicle parts left on the ground.
So if there were chips of bumpers and different vehicle parts, how fast do you estimate those vehicles were traveling?
There's no way for me to know.
But what I'm saying is, if they were traveling and there was debris on the ground, they had to have some type of velocity in order for that type of impact to occur. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. And how do you gather all of this information is that I'm still trying to figure out?
Through my interviews with you guys and what I've observed on the scene.
Okay. That's all, Your Honor.
Right. Any follow-up from the state?
Yes. Do you recall what the posted speed limit was on that road?
I do not recall.
Do you have maybe a range?
I believe it's between 45 to 55.
Okay. And in your investigation, the defendant said that, did the defendant say that he was already traveling in that lane, right?
Yes.
That he was already traveling. Is it your opinion, based on the investigation, that anyone that's traveling on that highway at 40 or 45, whatever that range is, even if it were, well, in that range, would, based on the kind of accident that it was, would have left debris of the kind you saw?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's just go back really fast to your training. Were you trained in accident scene, like investigation?
Yes, we get basic accident. I wouldn't call it the accident reconstruction, but it's accident investigation.
Okay, can you just elaborate a little bit more about your training there, like what you learn, how the training takes place?
So it's basically in the, I took it at the Clayton County Police Academy. You basically learn how to interview the people on scene, any witnesses or any drivers. You learn how to basically observe the skid marks and let that further your investigation. Observe any debris, any kind of paint. Sorry, I forget the word. Any paint that's left on other vehicles, not from that vehicle, that sort of thing.
Okay. You mentioned observe skid marks, right? Is it simply that you were trained to observe them, like notice them, or was there anything specific that they taught you about how to evaluate skid marks?
No, it was observe and determine basically their movement and where their final resting place was of the vehicle.
What about speed? Anything there?
No, that's for accident reconstruction 2, I believe. I've not taken that.
So it was movement and resting place.
Yes.
What about freshness?
Yes, that is in the class as well.
Okay, so based on your observation of that scene, how fresh were those skid marks?
They were very fresh.
So based on your training, you were able to determine that those skid marks came from that accident.
Yes, ma'am.
And that was because of the resting place and the freshness. Is that right?
Yep. Yes, ma'am.
And just to clarify, well, let me ask you this. You mentioned that the victim was coming out of an establishment. You don't remember what establishment it was, but she was merging on, right?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Who's in your opinion, if she's coming out, who is traveling faster at that point?
So they were both basically merging at the exact same point of, I guess, in the roadway. He just happened to be across the roadway in the center turning lane. So their movements, I wasn't able to determine who's moving faster because they're both starting from a stop position, merging onto the same highway.
Okay, so she merged already. But he was already in the thoroughfare, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so between the two of them, based on those positions, because I know that you said that she had already maintained her lane.
Yes.
But given the fact that she's coming out of something and he's already in the thoroughfare, in your opinion, who would be going faster?
I wouldn't be able to.
Who would have the opportunity to increase speed at that point? Who would have the opportunity to?
Well, I believe that if you're coming from a center turning lane, that you would have to accelerate a little faster because there's basically you're coming at a disadvantage onto the roadway. So you would have to, in my mind, speed up.
So the person coming in, you think was going faster than the person in the thoroughfare?
Yes.
Okay. And whose debris was it that you saw?
That was from both vehicles.
Okay, both vehicles.
I redirect when you're done.
Yes. Okay. That concludes my questions.
Right. Did you have any other questions, Mr. Harris?
Yes, please. Investigator, sir. At some point, did you call the supervisor to the scene to assist?
I do not recall.
Okay. Do you have in your notes if you recall, or did you call the supervisor to the scene?
No, we don't put that in the gears reports. That's the reporting system for the collisions.
Okay. Do you have a person in your police department that is of African American descent, is of a bald head, that describe the person that could possibly be a supervisor for you?
Yes, there used to be a supervisor that matches that description.
Okay. Is it possible that that person that I've just described, or that you just said that fits that description, could have come to the scene?
Yes, sir.
And if he were to come to the scene, for what reason would he have come to the scene?
To check on the investigation to see if I needed any help in basically with traffic control. It was a pretty large scene, so there was definitely going to be a need for traffic control.
Okay, that's it for me for right now.
All right. Does the state have additional witnesses to present?
Yes, I'd like to call I'd like to call the victim in this case. let me just find her name. Sorry. Leanne Donaldson? Is she here? Ms. Donaldson? I see she's on the call. I don't know if she can hear me. Ms. Donaldson?
Does the
Ms.
state
Donaldson, if you're able to type and let us know that you're here. Oh. Okay. You want to continue? Give me one moment, please.
Go ahead, Mike.
Your Honor, we're not able to get in touch with the victim, so we're going to rest here.
All right. It's the state's burden to present enough evidence to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the offenses charged were committed by the defendant. In this case, the testimony of the officer where he gave tickets to both individuals, the testimony that this gentleman was in the center lane and that the alleged victim was pulling out from a business onto the right lane and they both collided. The court finds that Mr. Harris is not guilty of the offenses charged. The last clear chance to avoid an accident would have been from the person pulling out from a business onto the lane. And at this time, Mr. Harris is found not guilty of the offense. All right. All right, Mr. Harris, you're not guilty on one count. The other count has been no pros, and you are free to go at this time if you wish to proceed to the clerk's office on the second floor and get any information that you believe you need for the previous FTA. You may do so at this time.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Have a good day.
All right, so unless I am missing something, this concludes the 11 o'clock calendar. The court is in recess until 1 p.m.